So the Ottawa Senators just traded Erik Karlsson in a deal that looks pretty darn good for the Avs' first round pick coming up in next year's draft that they got from them. So there's that to look forward to, but first, this video is actually going to be about an Avs defenseman. A good one too, one spinning circles around your TV set. Yep, Sam Girard. Girard was originally acquired as the key piece of the Matt Duchene trade. As just a 19-year-old defenseman, when we first got him, there were some questions as to whether he would even stay with the NHL club or get sent back to his junior squad. After his first 4 games with the Avs, there was zero chance of that, picking up 2 assists and playing over 20 minutes in all 4 of those games. Girard immediately stood out because of his puck poise. For just a 19-year-old kid, he looked incredibly confident, carrying the puck, holding onto it, and creating space, something that Avs defensemen have not done much of in a long time. Throw in his patented spin move, and it was easy for the fans to fall in love. Girard would see his production fall off after securing his spot permanently on the Avs roster, but to a certain extent that's to be expected from a 19-year-old. There's going to be a lot of growing pains there. Nonetheless, even when he wasn't scoring points, it still felt like he was consistently driving possession, and that's exactly what you need out of a defenseman who's supposed to be providing some offensive impact, which for the majority of the season that was the role that Sam was in. So the offensive potential there for Sam is pretty clear. Everyone can see that, but it's the defensive side that makes things more interesting. Personally, I believe Girard is already better on the defensive end than someone like Tyson Barrie. He's far from perfect, and at times you can see him get out-muscled because of his size, so that is something that he needs to work on, and there's plenty of room for improvement, but he has a very good foundation for such a young defenseman. By the end of 2017, Girard had seen his minutes drop significantly with the Avs, as the defense was kind of in a state of flux. Things were still shaking out. EJ playing 30 minutes a night, Zadorov coming into his own, and figuring out what to do with guys like Nemeth while dealing with injuries. Girard kind of got lost in the mix for a while. But at the turn into 2018, the lights just seemed to absolutely come on for Girard. Right before the New Year's, all the way up through the first week of February, Girard would provide 10 points for the Avs and become a force on their blue line, even working his way onto the power play for consistent time there. He would still have his up and downs in the second half, but would be scoring at a much more regular pace through the rest of the season. The one knock on his offensive ability was he does not put the puck in the net very much. He can get away with that because he doesn't really have to. Where he succeeds is drawing players into him, creating space, and then either using that space by skating into it or finding a pass to another player into that area. And that's not to say his shot is totally worthless either. I mean, he scored the first goal of the Avs play-in game at the end of the year. The kid's just stone cold. To go from someone that is virtually unknown to the Avalanche fan base to someone as beloved as Sam has become in just less than a year, it really takes a special type of player to do that. In fact, Sam's abilities seem so good that they've even caused a little bit of an issue with the Avs defense, in that it's hard to put a player like Sam on the same line as Tyson Barrie unless you're playing full YOLO. Sam, while maybe better than Barrie defensively, still has some room to work there, so at times it was hard to fit both of them into the top 4. And in a lot of ways, that's a good problem to have. If you have a surplus of something, maybe you can get something for parts of it. And I'm not saying we should turn around and trade Barrie tomorrow, but it should be an option on the table if you get a good enough offer. I've already mentioned that Sam's size and his physical play are one of the weakest parts of his game. For most of the regular season, it really wasn't that big of an issue, but it definitely became one in the playoffs. We saw him get hurt in Game 1 against the Preds because they basically just ran him over. Trying to play through it in that game, he ended up getting burned late by Phil Forsberg too. So there's still plenty of room for improvement. Hopefully this offseason he's bulked up quite a bit, but I have to remind myself constantly that he's only 20 years old. This kid's still going to get so much better. On this season with the Avs, Tornade had 3 goals and 17 assists for 20 points in 68 games. He also added 3 points in 5 games with the Predators earlier in the season and participated in 3 playoff games for the Avs. Based on Sammy's year as a whole, I'm going to give him a a grade of an A-. I really had to nitpick pretty hard to find major flaws in Sammy's game, and he really doesn't even have that many of them besides his size. When you take his age into account, not only does that make his performance that much better, it shows just how high his ceiling can be. The sky is really the limit for this kid. It's incredible how, in the past 2 years, the Avs have turned one of the worst defenses into the league into a bright spot on the team, and maybe even one of the most up-and-coming defenses, especially when you consider a little bit further down the line guys like Cale Makar, or hopefully Connor Timmins. Ultimately, the Spin Master is one of the players I'm most excited for to watch in this coming season to see how he progresses. The Avs blue line is going to be a delicate balance at times this year, trying to get everyone the minutes they deserve, but if Sammy isn't a complete regular in the top 4 by the end of the year, I would be shocked. That is the end of this player's season review. Thank you for watching. If you want to see all of Sammy's highlights, you can check them out up there. I even have a bunch of spins and even a few defensive plays in there. And if you want to get crazy hyped about the Erik Karlsson trade and how we have a sweet first round pick, you can check out this channel down here. I'm reivew, and press X to spin.